I understand that this is a pre-recorded presentation given by Malachi Noked from the Bar Ilan Institute, or Bar Ilan University Institute for Nanotechnology and Advanced Materials. Even though it's pre-recorded, is he available live or no? Okay, I don't think so. So the talk is suppression of electrode material degradation by using surface modification techniques. And again, this will be pre-recorded, but questions can be delivered to Dr. Noked via email or any other type of electronic communication.
Hello. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. My name is Malachi Noked. I'm from Bar Ilan University from Israel. I'm going to show you today some recent work on suppression of electrode material degradation by using surface modification techniques. My lab is located in Bar Ilan University. It is in Ramat Gan. This is the Nano Center of Bar Ilan. This is the center from more close look, where you can see it's a 9th floor above the ground and 2 more floors under the ground, where we have all the microscopy unit. These are the funding agencies which I want to acknowledge. And this is my lab mate. This is my team, my group. And we are working on surface modification using atomic and molecular layer deposition for various applications. Today I'm going to focus on energy storage materials that are stabilized by our unique atomic and molecular layer deposition techniques on the surface of the active material. We have done some work in the recent years for both developing new surface films that protect the active materials and also understanding their efficacy and efficiency in preventing degradation pathways inside the battery cell. So the content of my talk today will be a short introduction to atomic and molecular layer deposition. I will then move to the importance of the thin protection films on electrode material, just briefly touching it. And then I will show the efficacy of the surface protection for the performances of the battery using the material that are protected using our techniques. So atomic layer deposition is basically a methodology that is based on a reactor that is connected to at least 2 different precursors that are highly reacting with each other, but they have valves on the orifice of the cylinders. And these valves are fast valves, meaning they are opening and close pretty quickly. The volatile or the precursor, you can, if you want, you can look at this as a blue and red ball sources of precursors, and the purge is going through the valve. Only the vapors of the precursor are entering the reactor, and they are alternating, meaning we are not opening both valves for the blue and red together, but we open only one and then close, and then we evacuate the reactor and open the second one. So the blue balls are coming and reacting with the interface, only interface, and then evacuated out, and then the red balls are coming and reacting again with the interface. This way we can deposit atom by atom or molecule by molecule on the surface of the substrate. If we want to have a multi-component thin film deposition, so instead of having only 2 precursors, we can add more bottles into the manifold of the gases of the reactor, so maybe 3 or 4 precursors, and this way we can enrich the composition and also control the functionality of the thin film that we deposit on the substrate. I will show you more examples later on. So our first trial was to use atomic layer deposition, but instead of using 2 precursors, one is oxidizing agent and the second one is just the organometallic precursor. We use a single precursor and we call it atomic surface reduction. If we are doing so on highly rich, on oxygen-rich substrate, we found that we can use the oxygen from the surface itself, from the material itself, and coat it with a single precursor. So we named it atomic surface reduction. We exemplified that in 4 publications in the recent years. So how does it work? First, I'll touch what is the substrate that we demonstrated it on. These are cathode material for lithium-ion batteries. You can see that lithium cobalt oxide is the most common cathode material at least up to maybe 10 years back, this is the major part of the battery available in the market. And the capacity of the lithium cobalt oxide is determining the energy density of the battery that is using this material. You can see that the available capacity is around 150. There are materials available, for example, these compounds. It's called lithium and manganese rich nickel manganese cobalt oxide. This compound can demonstrate more than double the capacity that is demonstrated by lithium cobalt oxide, meaning that potentially we can have double capacity of the cathode material comparing to the commercially available lithium cobalt oxide based batteries. So why not using this material? Because these materials degrades through their interface. And there are many degradation pathways of the materials that should be prevented because they occur as we cycle the battery. So we discharge the battery and charge it to high voltage, and when we are doing so, the materials decompose. Our approach is to stabilize these active materials using surface coating. So this is the particle of the lithium and manganese rich NCM, which has promising capacity, meaning higher energy density than the currently available materials in the market. And we are protecting it with thin films in order to suppress the degradation pathway. So what I showed you before, by using only a single precursor, we can coat the surface of this highly reactive cathode material. And these are high-resolution TEM taken here at Bar-Ilan University of the process that was done with a single precursor, in this case, is trimethyl aluminum. Purged in atomic layer deposition reactor on the surface of the active material. This is the black or the more dark domain is the active material itself. And you can see here a very conformal 3 nanometer thick coating of alumina-like coating on the surface of the active material. And then we study the efficiency of this surface film in preventing the degradation pathway. Now, one thing that happens when you cycle the battery is the battery degas, meaning there are gases that evolved. We all saw swollen batteries after prolonged use. So batteries are evolving gas species as we cycle them because the reactivity of the active material with the electrolyte solution will cause evolution of carbon dioxide or even oxygen gas out of the cathode itself. And we are capable of monitoring the evolution of gas in the presence and absence of our coating using online electrochemical mass spectrometry. So what you are seeing here is that we could monitor the evolution of carbon dioxide with untreated cathode material and treated cathode material, and it is obvious that our treatment significantly suppressed the evolution of gas as we cycle our battery. What you see here is charge of the battery, higher voltage, and then discharge of the battery. Charge, discharge for a few cycles, and we could monitor the evolution of gas as we cycle the battery in operando. What we can see here is that the coating suppresses the evolution of gas species. Now, to support that, we can also demonstrate that the particle itself of the active material will not be cracked, because once gas is evolved, the particle is being cracked. We can see here in the high resolution SEM images, these are the particles. And as we cycle them in a battery, if they are not protected, we can see formation of many cracks, pointed here with red arrows. This is after 30 cycles of the battery. This is after 50 cycles and after 100 cycles. Now, the treated cathode material, we couldn't find significant cracks even after 100 cycles of the battery, meaning that the protection layer significantly suppressed the gas evolution and therefore improved the mechanical integrity of the battery material. What we can see in the electrochemical response of the active material, that when we are coating our material, we have higher capacity. Here on the x-axis, we have the capacity, meaning how much lithium we can insert, and then therefore how much energy we can store in our battery. And we can see that in the long term, we have higher capacity with the protected cathode material, here in red, compared to the untreated one. One thing to keep in mind that there is, when we are going to high rates, meaning when we are trying to discharge our battery in quarter of an hour, meaning 15 minutes, we are asking the energy density to leave, or we're trying to extract the energy density from our battery in 15 minutes. What you can see here is that in high energy consumption, meaning high rates, we are not extracting all the capacity, but then also the untreated one is slightly better than the treated one. So we were looking for surface treatment that will not only suppress the evolution of gases, but also improve the kinetics. So one thing we did is to replace the trimethyl aluminum with diethyl zinc. Like you can also see here that it is, instead of 3 nanometer thick, we have a 1 to 2 nanometer thin layer of zincate like on the surface of the cathode material. And when we studied the electrochemistry, we could see that there is a significant improvement also in the 4C, meaning even when we go to high rates and we try to extract the energy at high currents, the surface treatment suppress the evolution of gases and also improve the kinetics. So here at 4C, we have 14% of improvement in terms of energy density when comparing to the unprotected one. So this the zincate-like protection layer was better than the aluminate-like, but it wasn't good enough for us. We therefore teamed up with a group from the Technion, Professor Itzhak Apeloig group, and I will show what is the concept. So instead of having only zinc oxide or aluminum oxide-like, we are lithiating silicate on the surface of the active material. And we are not using 3 precursors in order to put the lithium, silicon, and oxygen, but we are using, instead of blue, red, and yellow precursor, we are using green and red, meaning in a single precursor, we can put multiple elements. And this single precursor is synthesized by the group of Professor Itzhak Apeloig, and also we collaborate on that with the group of Dr. Michael Eskes from the Weizmann Institute in order to characterize our thin film. So what we were capable of doing is that we deposited lithium and silicon oxide using a single precursor that contains a priori both lithium and silicon in a single precursor, in a single compound. And this compound is a silly lithium compound. You have the composition here. It is evaporated in our reactor and then reacted with ozone to form a surface film, which is a lithiated silica. And this surface film is protecting the active material. And when we look on the electrochemical performance, what we can see that when we compare this surface film to the alumina surface coating, there is a 41% improvement at high rates, meaning that the unprotected electrode here appears in red, behaves better than the alumina protected one at 4C, but the lithium silicate coating significantly improved the performances, even better than the zinc oxide I showed you before. So it's a 41% improvement in high rates. For long-term cycling of battery cells, we can see a significant improvement in capacity over time for the lithiated silica. And when we are studying the full cell, meaning full real battery prototype cell, we can see a significant improvement with a capacity retention of more than 80% with more than 200 milliamp hour per gram, which is a very high capacity for a cathode. I showed you before that the lithium cobalt oxide base is traditionally between 150 to 170. Again, we could demonstrate that suppression of the gas evolution as we cycle the battery is significantly reduced. So we managed to suppress the gas evolution as we are coating our battery with the lithium silicate. And when you look, again, when we look after 100 cycles, we can see a profound cracking in the battery material when we are not coating it. But when the battery electrode material is coated, then we do not see cracks, meaning we protected the active material, we prevented its degradation, and we also prevented the gas evolution inside our cell. So I hope what I showed you today convince you that functional materials often degrade through their interface, yet we can fix the interface by choosing a functional thin film that we can deposit by atomic and molecular layer deposition on the surface. We can monitor the battery degradation using online electrochemical mass spectrometry. And if I need to have a cartoon summary, this works. So this is how the electrode material will behave like without coating, and this is how it behaves with coating. I want to thank again my group. These are in the Corona days, and these are more happy days in Jerusalem. Thank you very much for inviting me. Have a good time and come visit Israel whenever you want.
Again, so anybody who has questions for Dr. Noked, that you will be able to reach him online or through email. Now that concludes our global summit for today. I'd like to invite Emmanuel Ho and also Sushanta Mitra to give a few closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, so it's been an amazing 2 days for the Global Summit. Hopefully you all enjoyed the amazing talks we've had, learned something new. I definitely have learned a lot. You know, we only covered 4 of many themes, right? During the 2 days, we covered nanomedicine. We covered equity, diversity, inclusion, and sustainability. We also covered AI, healthcare, and diagnostics, and of course, agricultural nanotechnology. I mean, these were only 4 of the many themes that surround nanotechnology. And really the purpose of the N4S Nano was to connect people from around the world, which I believe we successfully have accomplished with this hybrid model. We know it was a very challenging task, but thank you to the team here. You know, so I do want to give a shout out to the team here in Waterloo, Kendra, Emily, Olivia, Lisa, Oleg, and of course, Sushanta, and of course, our team over at Sydney Nano. There's Araya, Garesh, Wojtek, and Ben, as well as the program committee and the international steering committee as well. I mean, you know, we all expected some hiccups, but overall, I think it was a huge success. You know, this is probably one of the best ways to connect people from here in Waterloo and all around the world. And as you saw from our talks, you know, it was delightful to see the perspectives from other areas and other regions and some of the challenges and how we can hopefully apply nanotechnology to improve global healthcare. Most importantly, I also want to take this opportunity to thank all our plenary and keynote speakers, our invited speakers, poster presenters, sponsors, and most importantly, the attendees, those here in Waterloo and those that attended virtually. You know, we appreciate all the feedback, the questions that were posed. Even the debate was very entertaining. You know, I think it gives us a new perspective on how nanotechnology can benefit and potentially you know, pose more challenges that we need to figure out new solutions to tackle. But yeah, no, I just want to kind of say thank you again, and I want to pass the mic to Sushanta so he can provide some more remarks.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Let's have a big round of applause to everyone, all the people, and Emmanuel as well. Terrific job, Emmanuel. And so even though our conference ends today, I think our discussions and conversation about nanotechnology, sustainability, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals should continue beyond this walls and into our classrooms, into our day-to-day life. So I hope we continue and champion UN SDGs as we move forward and creating a better world for everyone. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the time. Thank you.